Inner peace can feel like a distant prize in our frantic world. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This ancient wisdom holds a startling key to modern calm. By the end of this video, you will have a complete step-by-step method for building steady inner composure. We will explore how to tell what you control from what you do not, how to see every challenge with clarity, and why acting with purpose is your deepest anchor. What single thought could change your whole perspective on a difficult day? What if the key to composure was simply knowing what you can and cannot control? The Stoic teacher Epictetus offered a startlingly clear answer 2,000 years ago. He wrote that some things are up to us and some things are not. Up to us are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our aversions. Everything else, from our reputation to our health to the actions of other people, is not entirely up to us. This is the dichotomy of control, the very bedrock of Stoic practice. When we pour our mental energy into things we cannot command, we are fighting a battle we can never win, and anxiety is the inevitable result. But when we focus our efforts solely on what is truly ours, our own thoughts and choices, we discover a profound resilience. Think of being stuck in an unexpected traffic jam. You cannot control the red lights or the cars ahead. You can, however, control your response. You can choose to fume and fret, imagining the consequences of being late. Or you can accept the situation as it is, use the time to listen to something meaningful, and resolve to inform others of your delay. The event itself is external, but your judgment of it and your subsequent action belong entirely to you. This is where your power lies. Take a moment and bring to mind one recent situation that caused you worry. Was the core of your anxiety rooted in something outside your command, like another person's opinion or an outcome you could not guarantee? Merely asking this question begins to train your mind to see the world through a Stoic lens, separating the chaos you must accept from the calm you can create. Stoic composure starts the moment an impression enters your mind. An impression is not the event itself, but your mind's initial, raw interpretation of it. The Stoics called the practice of watching these impressions prosoph, or attention. This is the foundational skill, the first step in the method. It is about creating a tiny, crucial gap between something happening and you reacting to it. In that space lies your freedom. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius advised himself to remember that everything is what your opinion makes it, and that opinion is in your power. He was speaking of this exact practice. When you receive a challenging piece of feedback, your first impression might be a sharp sting of frustration or a sinking feeling of unease. Prosoph is the act of noticing that feeling without being carried away by it. You observe the warmth on your skin, the defensive thought forming, and you simply acknowledge its presence. You are not the feeling, you are the one who feels it. This shift in perspective is everything. It transforms you from a passenger on a runaway emotional train into the calm observer standing on the platform, watching it pass by. For your next practice, choose one small, difficult impression that arises today. Perhaps it is a flicker of irritation when a notification interrupts your work, or a jolt of concern from a headline you read. Your only task is to notice it, name it to yourself silently. There is the frustration, there is the worry. Do not judge it or try to push it away. Just for a moment, hold it in your awareness. This simple act of noticing, repeated, builds the mental muscle that makes steady composure possible. How would you describe a challenging event if you were a completely neutral observer? This question points to the next step in building your inner fortress, a practice the Stoics called objective representation. It is the art of seeing things for what they are, stripped bare of the dramatic and often painful stories we immediately wrap them in. Your mind is constantly interpreting the world, layering raw facts with judgment and meaning. A project delay becomes a personal failure. A critical comment becomes a global indictment of your worth. Objective representation is the tool that cuts through that noise. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of this, writing in his private journal, "Always define and describe the object that presents itself to your imagination, so you can see it as it is in its essence, naked and whole." He was training himself to perceive the world without the filter of his own emotional reactions. This is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It is about achieving clarity. When you see the event itself separate from the story, you reclaim the power to choose your response wisely. For example, consider a work setback. The subjective story might say, "This is a difficult moment that feels overwhelming." The objective representation would state the plain facts. The project did not meet its goal. This presents a new problem that requires a solution. One version pulls you into a spiral of anxiety. The other directs your energy toward constructive action. Your emotional resilience grows from this capacity to deconstruct any situation. Take a current concern of yours and try this now. Write down only the objective, observable facts. If you are thinking about a challenging conversation, the facts might be, "A meeting is scheduled for tomorrow." "I anticipate a disagreement on a specific topic." Notice how the charged language of strong emotion is absent. You are left with the simple architecture of the situation, which is far easier to manage. This is how you fortify your inner citadel, not by ignoring difficulty, but by seeing it with unclouded eyes. Your character is the only thing that can never be taken from you. While health, wealth, and reputation are subject to the whims of fortune, your moral integrity remains firmly within your command. This is the profound anchor of Stoic virtue, the next step in forging an unshakable composure. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues as the foundation of a good life: wisdom to see the world clearly, courage to face difficulty, justice to act fairly toward others, and temperance to exercise self-restraint. Their radical proposition was that virtue is the sole good, not comfort, not success, but the quality of your own actions. When you make acting virtuously your only goal, you free yourself from the turbulent waves of external results. The philosopher Epictetus, who began his life in humble circumstances, put it plainly: he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. What he has, above all else, is his capacity for virtue. This shifts the entire focus of your efforts. Your success is no longer measured by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. Consider a difficult conversation you need to have, one where honesty might risk causing offense. If your goal is to control the other person's reaction, to ensure they like you or agree with you, you have set yourself up for potential anxiety and disappointment. That outcome is not fully yours to command. But if you instead make your goal the expression of courage and justice, speaking truth with respect, then you have already succeeded the moment you act. Their response becomes a separate matter, an external you can meet with calm understanding. Your composure holds fast because it is rooted in what you did, not in what you received. Look at one area of your own life now, perhaps a professional challenge or a personal relationship. Where can you shift your aim from achieving a specific result to simply acting with virtue? Choose to focus on being diligent rather than on immediate praise. Choose to be fair rather than on winning a minor conflict. This is how you build a citadel within, a peace that the world cannot disturb because it depends on nothing the world can give or take away. What if thinking about potential problems actually makes you calmer? This counterintuitive idea is the heart of a powerful Stoic exercise known as Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Far from being a pessimistic practice, it is a profound form of mental preparation that builds your inner resilience. The Stoic philosopher Seneca beautifully captured its purpose in his letters, writing that we should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of just the usual course of events. By vividly imagining the challenges that could arise, you drain them of their power to surprise and unsettle you. You are not worrying, you are rehearsing. Consider a common concern like giving an important presentation. Instead of just hoping everything goes perfectly, you mentally walk through the potential hiccups. What if the projector fails? You imagine calmly acknowledging the issue and continuing without the slides. What if a challenging question is asked? You picture yourself pausing, taking a breath, and responding with thoughtful clarity. By facing these possibilities in your mind first, you transform them from intimidating unknowns into manageable scenarios you have already explored. When you encounter them in reality, your composure remains intact because the path forward feels familiar. This mental rehearsal reduces the impact of difficulty. Take a moment now to bring to mind a situation you are anticipating. It could be a meaningful conversation, a travel delay, or a professional hurdle. Walk through it in your imagination, not focusing on the worry of it happening, but on your own steady response. How would you act with wisdom and courage if this situation came to pass? Visualizing your calm presence in detail is how you build the neural pathways for it to appear when you need it most. A Stoic sage does not merely tolerate fate, but embraces it with open arms. This is the essence of amor fati, a love of one's fate. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius offered a simple yet profound directive for this. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. See your life in this way. Every event, especially the difficult ones, becomes fuel for your inner strength. Amor fati moves beyond passive acceptance into active welcome. It is the decision to see everything that occurs, the delays, the setbacks, even the personal challenges, as necessary threads in the tapestry of your life. They are not interruptions to your path, they are the path itself. This mindset is the ultimate alchemy, transforming every obstacle into raw material for your growth. When you stop fighting reality and instead choose to love it, a profound peace settles in because your will is now perfectly aligned with the world as it is. Consider the simple example of a long-awaited plan being suddenly cancelled. The common reaction is frustration, a sense of wasted time. But through the lens of loving your fate, this cancellation is not a loss. It is an unexpected gift of time. Perhaps it is an hour now available for quiet reflection, for reading a book that has been waiting, or for reaching out to someone you care about. The external event remains the same, but your internal relationship to it is utterly transformed. You move from resisting what is to collaborating with it. Find one small inconvenience from your recent past. Maybe it was a missed bus, a sudden change in your work schedule, or a rainy day that altered an outdoor plan. For a moment, challenge yourself to reframe it. Ask, how could this be a hidden benefit? What lesson in patience did it offer? What unexpected moment of quiet did it provide? This is not about pretending things are easy. It is about discovering the strength that was always there, waiting to be uncovered by a willing heart. Much of our inner turmoil comes from wanting things we cannot have or control. This restless wanting creates constant friction with the world as it is. The Stoics identified this as a core challenge and offered a powerful solution they called the discipline of desire. Its purpose is to retrain your wants so they align only with what is truly good and entirely within your command. The Stoic teacher Epictetus gave his students a clear directive: demanding not that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will go on well. This is the heart of the discipline. It asks you to want only a good character and to perform right actions, making your sense of fulfillment completely independent of outside events. Your happiness becomes a matter of your own choices, not your circumstances. Consider the common wish for praise or a promotion at work. When you fix your desire on that specific outcome, the approval of others or a new title, you hand over your peace of mind to forces you do not control. Your manager's mood, office dynamics, or simple chance can block that wish, leaving you feeling unsettled. The discipline of desire invites you to make a subtle but profound shift. Instead of wanting the promotion itself, you focus your desire on doing excellent work. You want to be diligent, thorough, and collaborative. These actions are entirely within your power. Whether the promotion comes or not, you have already achieved your true goal, which was to act with virtue. Your composure remains steady because you got what you wanted, the chance to express your best self. Think of one unhelpful desire you can practice releasing today. Is it the wish for a particular person to act a certain way? Is it the hope for a situation to unfold exactly as you planned? Notice the tension that comes from clinging to that specific external outcome. Now consider what you could want instead that is fully yours to command. Perhaps you can shift your desire to acting with kindness regardless of their response, or to adapting with grace to whatever actually happens. This is not giving up. It is choosing a wiser, more resilient target for your precious energy. By rightly directing your wants, you build a life where frustration has no foothold. How does acting for others actually create stability within yourself? This question leads us to the Stoic discipline of action, a practice that turns your outward behavior into a source of profound inner calm. While the discipline of desire focuses on retraining your wants, the discipline of action focuses on guiding your deeds. It insists that all your actions, no matter how small, be performed with justice and for the common welfare. When your purpose extends beyond your own immediate gain, your personal setbacks suddenly feel smaller and less significant. You are no longer just a small boat tossed by your own private storms. You are part of a larger vessel, steady because it serves a greater voyage. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of this duty, writing in his private journal, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." Your life is interconnected with all of humanity, and your composure is found in acting for the good of the whole. This is not about grand, heroic gestures. It is about the daily orientation of your will. Consider the simple act of helping a colleague understand a complex task, not because you expect praise or a returned favor, but simply because it is the right and helpful thing to do. The action itself, performed with a spirit of generosity, is its own complete success. Any external reward is a bonus, but your sense of fulfillment is immediate and internal because you have acted in alignment with virtue. Your inner state is no longer vulnerable to whether your help is acknowledged or remembered. It is grounded in the justice of the act itself. For your next practice, choose to perform one small, anonymous act of kindness. It could be as simple as holding a door open with a genuine smile, or tidying a shared space without mentioning it. As you do it, pay close attention to the quiet sense of order and stability that arises within you. Notice how the frantic noise of self-concern softens when your focus shifts to the benefit of another. This is the hidden reward of the discipline of action, a composure built not on what you get, but on what you give. The Stoics used a simple nightly ritual to strengthen their composure day by day. This practice, known as an evening review, was their method for turning daily life itself into a training ground for wisdom. Seneca wrote in detail about this self-examination in his work on anger, describing how he would question his own soul each night. He would ask, what bad habit have you cured today? What fault have you resisted? In what way are you better? This was not an exercise in self-criticism, but a calm and honest audit of his progress. The goal was continuous growth, a gentle smoothing of rough edges through consistent, mindful reflection. By looking back on the day with a Stoic lens, you can spot the moments where your composure held firm, and more importantly, the moments where it wavered, learning from both. This transforms fleeting experiences into lasting inner architecture. A practical way to begin is with a simple 3-question format you can hold in your mind each evening. First, ask yourself, what did I do well today? Look for the small victories, the moments you responded with patience instead of irritation, or chose a thoughtful action when it was difficult. Acknowledge this progress, for it builds confidence. The second question is, where did I let externals disturb my peace? Did a comment from a colleague linger too long in your thoughts, creating unnecessary frustration? Did a change in plans trigger an anxious reaction? Identify the specific point where your judgment became entangled with something outside your control. The final and most forward-looking question is, how can I improve tomorrow? This is not about crafting a perfect plan, but setting a gentle intention. Perhaps your focus is on pausing for one breath before responding to a request, or on reminding yourself of the distinction between what you can and cannot influence during your morning routine. This entire review need only take a few quiet minutes. For just one evening, try this practice yourself. Find a quiet moment before sleep and walk through these 3 questions without judgment. What single insight emerges when you hold your day up to the light of conscious attention? Let's take a moment to see your current worries from 1,000 miles up. This is the essence of the Stoic view from above, a powerful mental exercise that dissolves anxiety by shifting your perspective from the personal to the cosmic. It is a deliberate meditation where you zoom out, first from your immediate surroundings, then from your city, your country, until you see the entire Earth as a small blue sphere suspended in an infinite expanse. From that vantage point, your personal dramas, your urgent deadlines, and your interpersonal conflicts appear in their true proportion, not as world-ending crises, but as small, manageable parts of a vast and beautiful whole. Marcus Aurelius was a master of this practice, frequently reminding himself in his writings to consider the connection of all things in the universe and their relation to one another. He would reflect on the countless generations that have come before and the countless more that will follow, recognizing his own life as a brief, fleeting moment. This is not meant to diminish your experience, but to liberate you from its intensity. Your ego, which magnifies every slight and inflates every problem, loses its power when viewed against the backdrop of the cosmos. The tranquility that follows is not one of nihilism, but of profound connection and humble acceptance. You can apply this perspective to any current stressor. Take a personal conflict that feels all-consuming right now. Now, imagine looking back on this same situation from the vantage point of 100 years from now. How significant does the disagreement feel when viewed from that distant future? The details that feel so sharp and painful today will likely have softened into a barely remembered moment, a single thread in the long tapestry of your life. Alternatively, picture the entire scene from the silent viewpoint of an observer in space, watching the tiny, animated figures on the planet below. From there, you see not just your own struggle, but the millions of other lives unfolding simultaneously, each with their own joys and sorrows. Your problem does not vanish, but it is placed within a context so immense that its emotional weight naturally lightens. For your own practice, bring to mind one specific concern that is weighing on you. Close your eyes for just a moment and begin the mental ascent. See the room you are in, then the building, then the town shrinking below you. Keep going until you visualize the curve of the planet, wrapped in clouds and spinning silently in the void. Now look back down at your specific worry. Observe any shift in how it feels. Does its urgency lessen? Does its power over your peace seem smaller? This cosmic viewpoint is always available to you, a quiet refuge that puts every challenge into its proper, manageable scale. Between an event and your reaction, there is a critical space, and this is where your power lies. The Stoics called the action you take in that space the Faculty of Assent. It is your final yes or no, the inner approval you grant to your initial impressions. This is the ultimate source of your emotional composure, for you are disturbed not by what happens, but by the judgment you form about what happens. The teacher Epictetus offered one of the clearest statements of this truth, writing that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. An event is simply an event. Your judgment about that event is what gives it emotional power. When you give your assent to a negative interpretation, you are effectively signing a contract for inner turmoil. But you hold the pen, and you can choose to withhold your signature. Consider the common experience of someone cutting you off in traffic. The event itself is a car changing lanes abruptly. It is a neutral fact. Your mind, however, instantly produces an impression, a story that says that person is rude and disrespectful. If you immediately assent to that judgment, if you accept it as absolute truth, then frustration floods your system. Your heart rate increases, your mood shifts, and your sense of calm begins to fade. But what if, in that crucial space, you noticed the impression without giving it your approval? You could observe the thought, there is a story about rudeness, and then choose a different interpretation. Perhaps that driver is in a hurry, maybe they are distracted, or simply made a human error, as we all do. The event remains identical, but your inner experience is transformed because you changed what you agreed was true. Your peace was not taken by the other driver, it was willingly let go by your own unexamined assent. For your practice today, make it your goal to catch yourself just once in the act of giving assent to a negative judgment. When you feel a moment of frustration or a wave of worry, pause and ask, what story did I just agree with? Is it the only possible interpretation? Merely identifying this moment begins to loosen its grip, returning the reins of your inner world to your own conscious hands. This practice is often misunderstood as a form of self-discipline, but its true purpose is far wiser. Think of it as a preparation for life's unexpected turns. The Stoics called this voluntary discomfort, a deliberate and periodic choice to welcome manageable challenges in order to build a deep resilience toward the fear of change. By willingly experiencing small lacks, you show yourself that you can navigate greater ones, forging a steady confidence that no outside shift can easily unsettle. Seneca supported this idea, advising his readers to set aside a certain number of days during which you will be content with the plainest and simplest fare, saying to yourself, "Is this the situation that I feared?" He was not promoting a life of constant hardship, but a training exercise in gratitude and inner strength. When you willingly step back from ease, you rediscover the basic foundation of your own well-being, which stands apart from luxuries. The aim is to learn that you already hold everything you need to be content within yourself. Practical ways to apply this are simple and gentle. You might choose to take a slightly cooler shower one morning, not for any specific benefit, but for the mental practice of meeting a minor physical sensation with calm acceptance. You could decide to pause a regular comfort for just one day, like that afternoon coffee or an evening of screen entertainment, and instead use the time for a walk or quiet thought. The particular action matters less than the mindful intent behind it. You are not taking away from yourself, you are showing your own mind that these things are additions, not necessities for your peace. This week, choose one small, voluntary step back from comfort to try. It could be as simple as wearing a lighter jacket on a cool day or eating a very simple meal. As you do it, pay close attention not to the sensation itself, but to the feeling of self-reliance that appears afterward. Notice the quiet strength in realizing that you chose this, you moved through it, and you are perfectly fine. That is the resilient heart of your composure, a calm understanding that you are more adaptable than any outside condition. Here is a 1-second practice that can change your entire day. Before you speak in a heated conversation, before you send that reactive email, or even as you feel a wave of frustration rise, you insert a single, deliberate beat of silence. This is the Stoic pause, the physical creation of space between a stimulus and your response. It is in this tiny, breath-filled gap that your reason finds its footing before emotion can take the wheel. The Stoic teacher Epictetus advised his students to go slowly into action, for the mind must be steady before it can be wise. This pause is the practical tool that makes that steadiness possible. It is not a complex meditation, but a simple, portable technique you can use anywhere. It is the moment you reclaim your role as the conscious decision-maker of your inner world. In a difficult discussion, you can feel the impulse to interrupt, to defend, to have the last word. This is when you consciously stop, count silently to 3, and let the quiet hang for a moment. In that space, you are no longer pulled by the strings of provocation. You become the observer, able to ask, what would a wise and just response look like here? The entire dynamic shifts because you chose not to be swept along by the initial current. Your practice for the day ahead is to deploy this Stoic pause just once in a situation that would normally trigger a quick reaction. It could be when a family member says something that sparks irritation, or when you encounter an unexpected delay in your schedule. In that 1 second of intentional stillness, notice the freedom that emerges. That small space is where your unshakable composure is built, one conscious breath at a time. The Stoics found composure by aligning their will with the way things are, not how they wish them to be. This is the profound principle of living in accordance with nature, which they saw as the ultimate source of harmony. For the Stoics, nature was not just trees and rivers, but the entire rational, interconnected structure of the cosmos, a single living being of which we are all a part. To fight against its flow is to create endless internal friction, while to accept its design is to find a deep and lasting peace. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this constantly, writing in his meditations that we should remember all is as thinking makes it so, and you are thinking as a part of the whole, acting in harmony with its purpose. He was reminding himself that his own life was a small but integral note in a vast, unfolding symphony. When you see yourself this way, your personal struggles are reframed. They are not random punishments, but necessary movements within a greater, intelligent order. Consider the natural transition of a career path. You may have held a role for a long time, finding identity and security in it. When change comes, perhaps through a shift in the industry or a personal calling to do something new, the instinct is often to resist, to cling to the familiar shore. But this is like a tree refusing to shed its leaves in autumn, fighting the very cycle that allows for its renewal in spring. Living in accordance with nature means seeing this career transition not as a disruption, but as a natural and necessary season of your life. It is the cosmos presenting you with the raw materials for your next phase of growth. The frustration you feel is not from the change itself, but from the tension between your desire for stability and the reality of life's inherent flux. Bring to mind one aspect of your own life where you feel a sense of resistance. It might be a changing relationship, an evolving responsibility, or even the simple process of aging. For a moment, gently set aside the wish for it to be different. Instead, consider how this situation, just as it is, could be viewed as a natural part of the human experience. How does this shift from resisting reality to accepting it as part of the cosmic order begin to soften the edges of your anxiety? This is not passive resignation, but an active collaboration with the universe, a decision to find your place within its grand and rational design. Your mind has a gate. Is it guarded, or is it letting everything in? In our modern world, this gate is under constant pressure from endless streams of information, viewpoints, and digital chatter. Just as you would not let just anyone walk into your home, you must be the attentive keeper of what enters your inner world. A crowded, draining, or disordered mental atmosphere makes true steadiness difficult, because every unchecked influence can shape your thinking and stir your feelings before you even notice. The Stoics understood this deeply, encouraging a life thoughtfully arranged to support integrity and inner calm. Seneca wrote often about the value of stepping back from the crowd and its distracting pull, noting that steady contact with outside voices can quietly reshape your own perspective. He recommended turning inward to find a personal measure that is not moved by the changing tides of popular thought. This is not about pulling away completely, but about thoughtful connection, choosing influences that support you rather than disturb your balance. Think about the simple step of reviewing your social media feed or your daily news routine. Scroll through with fresh attention and ask a gentle question. Which of these sources leaves me feeling grounded and clear, and which leaves me feeling unsettled, upset, or less? You are not trying to disconnect from the world, but to interact with it from a place of strength, not haste. For just one day, decide to set aside one specific source of this mental noise. It could be quieting a frequently negative account, pausing news alerts after a certain time, or simply choosing quiet over a podcast during your travel. Notice the shift with open curiosity. Does letting go of that one influence create a little more room, a little more stillness inside you? That small, recovered space is where your steadiness begins to settle and grow strong again. Remember, premeditating loss, its flip side is a deep and active gratitude. This is the beautiful symmetry of the Stoic mind, a single practice that builds resilience while simultaneously cultivating a rich appreciation for the present. When you consciously consider the temporary nature of the people and comforts you hold dear, you do not invite fear, you unlock a profound thankfulness for their existence right now. The very act of imagining life without them transforms your ordinary experience into something precious and vivid. Marcus Aurelius left us a powerful example of this in his private writings, where he meticulously listed the qualities of those around him he was thankful for, from his grandfather's good character to his brother's reminder to be fair. He was not simply counting blessings, he was actively training his perception to see the good woven into the fabric of his daily life. This practice shifts your focus from what you lack to the abundance that is already yours, an abundance often invisible until you hold it up to the light of potential change. A simple way to weave this into your own life is to create a brief mental ritual each morning or evening. Before you begin your day or as you prepare for rest, bring to mind 3 non-material things you are grateful for. It could be the clarity of a quiet mind after a good night's sleep, the loyalty of a friend, or the simple capacity to learn something new. The key is to move beyond generic lists and feel the genuine value of each item. For a moment today, choose one mundane aspect of your life you usually take for granted, like the instant availability of clean running water. Pause and truly consider the intricate systems, the human effort, and the minor miracle that brings it to you. Allow yourself a wave of sincere gratitude for this ordinary wonder. This conscious acknowledgement is the quiet engine of contentment, turning daily life into a continuous source of quiet joy. Your words are a powerful tool for either creating inner chaos or cultivating peace. Each time you speak, you are not just communicating with the outside world, you are also reinforcing a particular state within your own mind. Frivolous talk, constant complaint, or harsh criticism does not just affect those who hear it, it actively stirs your own inner state, bringing forward the very emotions you describe. On the other hand, speech that is measured, truthful, and kind acts as an anchor, steadying your thoughts and reinforcing your composure from the inside out. The Stoic teacher Epictetus placed great importance on this, advising his students to be silent for the most part and to say only what is necessary and in few words. He went further, suggesting that in conversation, you should rarely speak about common topics like gladiators, horse races, or athletes, and absolutely avoid speaking about people in terms of blame, praise, or comparison. His concern was not just for social etiquette, but for the integrity of your own inner life. When you fill the air with talk about others, you are training your mind to be preoccupied with the lives and choices of people around you, a territory entirely outside your control. When you habitually voice dissatisfaction, you are convincing your own mind that you are subject to circumstances, which can weaken your sense of resilience. The practice, then, is to make your speech a reflection of your values. Before you contribute in a group setting, insert that small Stoic pause and ask yourself a simple two-part filter. Is what I am about to say true? Is it necessary and beneficial for me to say it right now? This momentary check prevents you from being swept along by the momentum of conversation and ensures your words are intentional. For the next hour, make a quiet pact with yourself to become an observer of your own speech. Carry a gentle awareness and notice if you are about to voice a remark about the weather or share a story about a colleague. You do not need to judge yourself, simply observe the impulse. How many times in a single hour does the opportunity arise to choose peace over inner noise? How would you act today if you knew it was your last? This is not a question designed to bring fear, but to bring an intense and beautiful clarity to the present moment. The Stoics called this practice Memento Mori, a Latin phrase meaning remember you must transition. Far from being a dark fixation, it was for them the ultimate tool for prioritizing what truly matters and living with a profound sense of purpose. It is the final, grounding weight that steadies the ship of your composure against the strongest winds of trivial worry and procrastination. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius returned to this thought again and again in his private writings, reminding himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He was not dwelling on an ending, but using the certainty of it to sharpen his focus on the quality of his life now. This awareness acts like a filter for your attention. When you hold the reality of your limited time as a gentle background truth, the small irritations, the needless anxieties, and the petty conflicts simply lose their power to disturb you. They are exposed as the distractions they are, making space for what is essential, for love, for virtue, for meaningful work. Imagine facing a decision about whether to hold onto a grudge against someone you care about. The weight of the offense might feel solid and justified. Now view that same choice through the lens of Memento Mori. If you knew your time with this person was finite, would the grievance still feel so important? The practice dissolves the rigidity of resentment, revealing the far more precious opportunity for reconciliation and connection. It motivates you to act with kindness now, not at some distant, more convenient time that may never arrive. This remembrance also cultivates a deep, active gratitude for the simple fact of your existence. Each morning you wake is a gift, an extra day to practice wisdom, to express love, to contribute something good. Your practice for integrating this is straightforward yet transformative. take a moment to write down one thing you would do differently if you kept your own journey in mind each day. Would you be quicker to forgive? Would you finally start that project that matters to you? Would you speak your appreciation more openly? Do not let this be a passing thought. Let it be a quiet guide, a compass that continually points you back to a life of composure and purpose, lived fully in the time you are given. The Stoics were not against emotion, they were against being controlled by it. Their ultimate aim was a state called Apatheia, a word often misunderstood today. Apatheia is not the cold emptiness of apathy, but a deep freedom from the overwhelming storms of irrational passion. It is the calm, clear sky after the turbulent weather of unchecked feeling has passed. Think of it as inner sovereignty, where you experience life fully without being overthrown by your own reactions. Seneca, in his work on the happy life, describes this ideal as a state of tranquility and constant peace, for pleasures are small and must not be seen as worthy of the highest good. He points toward a happiness built on something more solid and reliable than the passing highs and lows of emotional fortune. The Stoics made a crucial distinction to help us get there. They recognized that we all experience initial, automatic feelings, what they called proto-passions. This is the first jolt of alarm at a loud noise, the quick flash of irritation when a plan changes, the immediate sadness at receiving difficult news. These initial feelings are natural, involuntary, and not something to judge. The difficulty begins not with the feeling itself, but with what happens next. If we take that initial spark and feed it with a story of judgment and resistance, it ignites into a full-blown passion, a sustained emotional fire that consumes our peace. A proto-passion is a brief feeling of frustration, while the passion is the lasting agitation that can occupy your entire afternoon, replaying the event in your mind and seeking to respond. One is a momentary wave, the other is a riptide that pulls you out to sea. Your path to composure lies in learning to spot the difference in your own life. Bring to mind one persistent emotional pattern you would like to be free from. Perhaps it is a habit of chronic concern that spins small issues into major worries, or a lingering frustration that colors your interactions with a particular person. This is the passion at work. The practice is to catch it earlier and earlier, to notice the initial proto-feeling before you give it the fuel of your agreement. When you feel that first stir of unease, can you meet it with simple observation instead of a dramatic story? This is not about suppressing the feeling, but about choosing not to be carried away by the narrative that amplifies it. The freedom you seek is found in that quiet space of non-agreement, where you can acknowledge the initial emotion without letting it become the ruler of your inner world. What single question could instantly guide you toward wiser action? What would Marcus Aurelius do in your situation? This inquiry lies at the heart of a powerful Stoic practice, the use of role models. The Stoics understood that in the heat of the moment, abstract principles can feel distant. To bridge that gap, they encouraged keeping a mental exemplar close at hand, an idealized figure of wisdom and composure they called the sage. This is not about unrealistic perfection, but about having a concrete standard for virtuous behavior, a North Star for your moral compass when emotional clouds roll in. Having this model makes choosing the composed response infinitely easier, because you are no longer just following a rule. You are walking in the footsteps of someone you admire. Seneca frequently championed this method in his letters, urging his friend Lucilius to choose a model for your own life, someone whose way of living and even their face you approve of, and keep them in your mind as your guardian or exemplar. He specifically pointed to figures like Cato the Younger, a Roman senator renowned for his unwavering integrity. By keeping such a person in your thoughts, you create an inner council of one, a trusted advisor available at a moment's notice. A practical way to apply this is to select a specific Stoic figure who resonates with you and ask a simple, modern version of that guiding question. When you are facing a moral quandary or feel your composure beginning to slip, pause and ask yourself, what would Seneca do? How would Epictetus view this provocation? The question itself creates that crucial space for reason, pulling you out of the reactive self and into the perspective of a wiser observer. It transforms the challenge from a personal trial into a test of character you can meet with greater strength. For your own practice, take a moment to select a personal role model for composure. It could be a historical Stoic, a respected mentor, or even a fictional character known for their steady presence. What is one specific quality of theirs you can consciously emulate in the coming days? Is it their patience in listening, their courage in speaking truth, or their calm acceptance of things they cannot change? By choosing to embody just one of their traits, you begin to build that same unshakable composure within yourself, one thoughtful action at a time. You are living your life right now. This hour is being subtracted from your total. This is not a dark thought, but a clear truth the Stoics believed was essential for a life of purpose and calm. Time is the one truly non-renewable resource, and every moment spent in delay or worry is a moment gone for good. The Roman thinker Seneca explored this with sharp insight in his essay on the shortness of life, suggesting that life is not short, we make it so. We are not lacking time, but wasteful with it. He noticed that we often behave as if we will live forever, putting off what matters for a distant future that is never certain. This Stoic view brings a gentle but firm urgency, not a frantic one, moving you to focus your limited time on what is truly within your power, your thoughtful actions right now. When you see time as a finite gift, the urge to postpone fades and a powerful clarity appears. The worry of an overwhelming list softens when you realize you only need to act well in the present hour. A practical way to live this is to begin each morning with one question. If this were my final day, what one meaningful action would be most important to take? The answer is rarely about finishing a small task. It directs you toward an act of courage, like having that honest talk you have put off. It guides you to an expression of fairness, like giving real help to someone without expecting anything back. Or it calls for an act of kindness, like making space for a person you care about. By shaping your day this way, you immediately connect your use of time with your deepest values, which is the very heart of Stoic calm. For your own practice, choose just 1 hour today. See it as a valuable, irreplaceable part of your life. Give it completely to one meaningful action you have delayed, not for the sake of getting things done, but as an exercise in thoughtful living. How does treating that single hour as a finite gift change your attention and quiet the noise around it? Few things test our composure like an insult. Here is how the Stoics turned it into a non-event. They developed a simple 3-step method that acts as a shield, protecting your inner peace from the sharp words of others. The first step is to consider the source. Ask yourself, is this person's opinion truly valuable? Are they someone whose judgment you respect on this matter? If their insight comes from a place of misunderstanding or ill intent, their words hold no real weight. You would not be upset by a child's uninformed opinion, so why grant that power to an adult who may not know better? The Emperor Marcus Aurelius offered a powerful perspective on this, writing, "When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. Their action reflects their own inner state, not your worth." The second step is the most practical. Ask, is the criticism true? If there is a kernel of truth in their words, then the remark is actually a gift. it is a free lesson highlighting an area for your own improvement. Accept it with gratitude and learn from it. If the criticism is false, however, it is simply irrelevant noise. It is a story they are telling themselves that has nothing to do with you. Your energy is far better spent on things within your control than on refuting a falsehood. The final step is to recognize that their action is a reflection of their character, not a definition of yours. Someone who speaks harshly is revealing their own frustration, their own lack of self-control, or their own pain. You are merely the temporary target. Your character is defined by your own actions and choices, not by the words someone else projects onto you. Think of a dismissive comment from a coworker, something like, "That report was not your best work." Applying the method, you first consider the source. Is this colleague known for thoughtful feedback, or are they often critical without cause? Next, you assess the truth. Was the report actually rushed or lacking in some way? If so, you have gained a valuable insight for next time. If not, you can set the comment aside as their personal view, which you are free to disregard. Finally, you see their remark as a display of their own standards or mood, not a verdict on your professional ability. Your composure remains intact because you have processed the event with reason, not raw emotion. Bring to mind a past remark that once bothered you. Walk through those 3 steps with it now. Consider the source, assess its truth, and see it as a reflection of their character, not yours. How does reprocessing that memory through a Stoic lens change its emotional weight? The Stoics saw themselves not as isolated individuals, but as limbs of a single great body. This profound sense of interconnectedness is the principle of Sympatheia, a recognition that the entire cosmos is a single, rational, and living being. We are not separate pieces moving in a void, but integral parts of a unified whole, each of our actions rippling through the system to which we belong. When you understand this, your sense of self expands. Your personal worries begin to feel smaller, not because they are insignificant, but because they are held within a context of immense belonging. Marcus Aurelius constantly returned to this vision, reminding himself that the rational soul traverses the whole universe and its surrounding space, and gazes into infinite time, and considers the great cycles of the cosmos, and reflects that our children will see nothing truly new. He saw the world as one city, and all humans as his fellow citizens. This perspective is the ultimate antidote to the modern feeling of isolation. It transforms your relationship with everyone you meet, from strangers on the street to colleagues in your workplace. They are no longer separate entities with competing interests, but other limbs of the same body, working toward a shared existence. Your duty is not a burden, but a natural expression of this connection, an impulse to act for the common good, just as your hand naturally moves to protect your face from discomfort. Consider the simple act of helping a stranger who has dropped their belongings. The common view might be that this is a minor interruption in your day, a polite gesture you perform. But through the lens of Sympatheia, you are not helping an other, you are assisting another part of your own greater self. The body is helping one of its own limbs. This shift in perception infuses the smallest action with deep meaning and dissolves the friction of self-concern. Your composure is strengthened because you are no longer a solitary fortress trying to maintain itself, but a vital organ in a living universe, drawing strength from your connection to it. For your practice today, perform one small action that consciously reinforces this sense of connection. It could be buying a coffee for the person behind you in line, offering a genuine compliment to a service worker, or simply picking up a piece of litter in a shared park. As you do it, hold this thought in your mind: I am not doing this for you, but for us. Notice the quiet sense of purpose and stability that arises from this simple reframing, a feeling that you are exactly where you belong. The secret to having enough is knowing that you already do. This is the quiet truth at the heart of Stoic contentment, a deliberate art of finding sufficiency and joy exactly where you are. The endless chase for more, for the next achievement or possession, is a source of constant inner unrest, a state of always feeling unfinished. True peace, however, is found not in acquiring but in appreciating. The here and now is all we ever truly possess, and learning to see the richness within it is the ultimate practice of composure. The teacher Epictetus, who lived a life of simplicity, cut straight to the core of this idea. He asked, "Is it not a kind of confusion and the wildest illusion to desire so much when you can be happy at once? For what more do you need when you have reason and the universe itself?" His point was startlingly clear. Wealth and status are not prerequisites for a good life. A good life is built on your capacity to recognize the abundance already present in your own mind and in the world immediately around you. This is not a passive resignation, but an active choice to find wealth in what you already control. A powerful way to cultivate this is to sit quietly for just 5 minutes in a familiar space. It could be at your kitchen table or on a park bench. For those few minutes, your only task is to fully appreciate your immediate surroundings without wanting a single thing to change. Notice the quality of the light falling across the floor. Feel the solid support of the chair beneath you. Listen to the subtle sounds that make up the quiet. In this practice, you are not adding anything to your life. You are uncovering the value that was there all along. What 3 simple things about your current situation right now are enough for your contentment? It might be the warmth of your sweater, the clarity of your thinking in this moment, or the simple fact of having a place to rest. Naming them, even silently, trains your mind to spot sufficiency, building an unshakable composure that the world cannot take because it does not come from the world. A single stressful moment can feel like a storm of competing thoughts and feelings, yet this is precisely where your Stoic training integrates into a seamless, powerful response. Let us walk through a stressful event and apply the entire Stoic toolkit in real time. Imagine you are giving an important presentation and the microphone suddenly fails, silencing your voice in a room full of people. Your heart pounds and a wave of embarrassment washes over you. This is the critical point where your practice takes over. Your first and most immediate action is to deploy the Stoic pause. You stop, take one conscious breath, and create that essential space between the event and your reaction. In that silent moment, you do not fight the reality of the broken microphone. You begin applying the dichotomy of control. You recognize that the malfunctioning equipment is an external, entirely outside your command. What you do control completely is your response. Your judgment, your next action, your character in this moment, these are yours. This realization alone begins to drain the panic of its power. Next, you shift to objective representation, describing the situation in its plain, factual essence. The story your mind wants to tell is, "This is a disaster and I am failing." You consciously replace that with the naked truth, "The microphone is not working." This is a technical problem that requires a solution. By stripping away the catastrophic interpretation, you see the event for what it is, a manageable hiccup, not a personal indictment. Now, with a clear mind, you ask the final, guiding question. How can I act with virtue here? The answer is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to proceed wisely despite it. You might smile calmly at the audience, gesture to acknowledge the issue, and project your voice to continue without the microphone, or you could calmly signal for assistance. Your action is no longer about salvaging your ego, but about expressing strength and respect for the people who came to listen. Marcus Aurelius offered a perfect anchor for such turmoil, writing, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The broken microphone is not blocking your presentation. It is creating the very opportunity to demonstrate your composure." Think of a challenge you anticipate in your own life, perhaps a difficult conversation or a high-stakes meeting. Mentally rehearse this integrated method now. Where will you insert the pause? What is truly within your control to manage? How can you state the facts of the situation without the painful story? And what virtuous action, guided by courage or wisdom, will you choose? This rehearsal forges a neural pathway, so when the pressure arrives, your composure is not a hope but a practiced reality. A tree does not grow in a day, and neither does unshakable composure. This simple truth is the heart of the Stoic virtue of patience, a quiet understanding that your inner fortress is built not in a single burst of effort, but through the steady, consistent application of principle over the long arc of time. The Stoic path is one of continual practice, not instant perfection. You will have days where your composure holds firm against significant challenges, and you will have other days where a minor inconvenience seems to unravel your peace entirely. Both are part of the same process, the necessary friction that sharpens your resolve and deepens your understanding. Patience, in this context, is not passive waiting. It is the active, day-by-day choice to return to the practice, to begin again after a setback without self-judgment. The Roman philosopher Seneca offered profound comfort on this point, reflecting on how time has a way of revealing what is true and bringing ease to what is difficult. He observed that time discovers truth, a reminder that clarity often comes not in the heat of the moment, but in the quiet reflection that follows. Just as a river slowly smooths a rough stone, consistent practice gently wears away your reactive habits, revealing a calmer, more resilient core. Consider the process of learning a complex new skill, like playing a musical instrument or mastering a language. The initial stages are often marked by frustration and awkwardness. Progress is rarely a straight, upward line. It is a journey of small improvements, plateaus, and occasional steps back. If you demand immediate mastery, you guarantee your own disappointment. But if you approach it with patience, celebrating the small victories and accepting the slow periods as part of the natural rhythm of learning, you create the conditions for genuine, lasting growth. The same principle applies to restoring a strained connection with another person. A single conversation cannot undo years of misunderstanding. Trust is rebuilt through a series of small, consistent, and trustworthy actions over time. Impatience, the desire for an immediate resolution, can often do more harm than good. Stoic patience asks you to focus on acting with integrity in each interaction, trusting that the cumulative effect of your virtuous actions will, in time, create the conditions for understanding. Where in your own Stoic practice can you offer yourself more patience today? Is it in your effort to pause before reacting, an exercise that feels clumsy at first? Is it in your practice of objective representation, where old stories still sometimes cloud your vision? Acknowledge that this is not a race. Each mindful breath, each moment you catch a judgment without assent, is a brick laid in the foundation of your inner citadel. Your progress is assured not by perfection, but by your patient, persistent return to the path. A great archer focuses on their form, not on the wind that might deflect the arrow. This ancient image, recorded by the Roman thinker Cicero, perfectly captures the Stoic art of letting go. The archer's goal is to shoot skillfully. They can control their stance, their draw, their aim, and their release. But once the arrow leaves the bow, its path belongs to the world. A sudden gust, a moving target, 1,000 variables beyond their command can intervene. The Stoic Archer finds contentment not in hitting the bullseye, which is fickle, but in having executed the shot with excellence. This is the profound shift from outcome to process, where your peace is secured by the quality of your effort, not the lottery of the result. Your anxiety does not come from the possibility of falling short, but from your attachment to a specific, unpredictable future. When you pour your sense of self-worth into an outcome you cannot guarantee, you build your home on shifting sand. Composure, by contrast, is built on the solid ground of your own intention and action. You find stability in knowing you have done your best with the factors truly within your command. Think of a work project you are currently completing. The common approach is to fixate on the outcome, the final approval, the praise from a manager, the successful launch. Each of these is like the wind to the archer, an external force you can influence but never control. Your manager might be distracted that day, the company's priorities could shift, a competitor might release a similar product. Tying your inner state to these unpredictable events is a recipe for restless nights. The Stoic approach invites you to make a subtle but powerful pivot. Redirect your entire focus to the process itself. Your goal becomes doing excellent work. You aim to be thorough in your research, clear in your writing, collaborative in your communication, and diligent in your revisions. These actions are your form, your draw, your release. They are entirely your own. You can walk away from the project the moment it leaves your hands, content in the knowledge that you performed your part with care and integrity. The final outcome, whether it is celebrated or overlooked, becomes a separate matter. Your composure remains unshaken because your success was already achieved in the doing. For one task today, large or small, practice this release. Whether you are writing an email, having a conversation, or completing a chore, pour your full attention into the quality of the action itself. Consciously notice the impulse to worry about how it will be received, and gently return your focus to the intention behind your effort. How does letting go of the need for a specific result change the texture of the work itself? Stoicism is not a set of tricks, it is a lens through which you see the entire world. This is the ultimate goal of your practice, the point where these individual techniques cease to be exercises and begin to breathe as a single, unified philosophy for living. The principles of distinguishing what is within your control from what is not, of examining your impressions, and of acting with virtue become as automatic as breathing. They inform your smallest decision, your instinctive reaction, and your deepest interaction, forging a character of natural composure. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus stated this aim with perfect clarity, saying, "Do not explain your philosophy, embody it." Your life itself becomes the demonstration of your understanding. This integration transforms your daily experience from the inside out. A minor daily irritation, like a long queue at the grocery store, is no longer just a nuisance. It becomes an immediate, spontaneous opportunity to practice the disciplines of desire and assent. You do not need to consciously recall the steps, you simply live them. Your desire aligns with the reality of the weight, your assent refuses the story of frustration, and your action is one of patient stillness. The practice has become who you are. For just one day, choose a single Stoic principle to consciously live. It could be the dichotomy of control, reminding you to channel your energy only toward your own judgments and actions. Or it could be the commitment to act with justice in every interaction, no matter how small. Carry this principle with you as a silent guide from the moment you wake until you rest. Notice how this intentional focus begins to weave the philosophy into the fabric of your being, turning knowledge into a quiet, unshakable way of life. No Stoic is an island. We learn and strengthen our resolve together. While the core of this philosophy is built on personal responsibility, its practice is profoundly supported by the shared journey with others. Engaging with a community, whether found in a local reading group or a thoughtful online forum, provides a vital space for mutual encouragement and deepened understanding. When you discuss a Stoic challenge you are facing, you invite perspectives that can cut through your own blind spots, offering a clearer view of the obstacle. This shared exploration holds you gently accountable to the principles you are trying to embody, reinforcing your commitment on days when your personal resolve might waver. The Stoics themselves were not solitary figures. Epictetus, born into humble circumstances, dedicated his life to teaching in his own school, guiding his students through daily dialogues that made abstract principles practical. He understood that wisdom flourishes in the soil of conversation and shared inquiry. You can begin to cultivate this for yourself in simple ways. Seek out a digital community dedicated to thoughtful Stoic discussion, where you can both ask questions and offer your own hard-won insight. Or, even more directly, start a conversation with a single friend who might be open to these ideas. Share a passage from Marcus Aurelius that resonated with you and discuss what it brings up for each of you. As a small step forward, consider sharing one insight you have gathered from this exploration with someone in your life today. It could be the simple distinction between what is within your control and what is not. Notice how the act of explaining it to another person solidifies the understanding within your own mind, turning a private lesson into a shared anchor. Unshakable composure is not a destination you arrive at, but a path you walk each day. This entire journey through the Stoic method has been about building a resilient inner architecture, brick by mindful brick. We began by learning to distinguish what is within our control from what is not, the foundational practice that ends the struggle against what we cannot change. We explored the power of cognitive distancing, observing our initial impressions without being carried away by them, and the clarity that comes from seeing events as they are, free from added stories. We anchored ourselves in virtue, recognizing that our character is the only true good, and we prepared for life's challenges through mental rehearsal and a calm acceptance of our path. We practiced directing our desires and actions wisely, and we learned to view our lives from a wider, more peaceful perspective. These are not separate tricks, but interlocking parts of a single, coherent way of life. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius left us a final, guiding thought, writing, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Your composure is the cumulative hue of your daily mental practices." Your journey now continues beyond this moment. Choose one single practice from this exploration to commit to for the next 7 days. Will it be the evening review, the Stoic pause, or perhaps the discipline of desire? Carry it with you gently and observe the subtle shifts in your inner world. If this path toward steady strength resonates with you, consider subscribing for more guides in practical philosophy. And I warmly invite you to share your own experiences in the comments below, fostering a community where we can all learn and grow together, one mindful step at a time.